triple kill, but Sona Finn, he'll deny the plant. He sees 2 more kills. Oh my god! Sona Finn will find more!
7 seconds left. They gotta pick up the diffuser, but Dami lines up both. Dami with the 1v3.
Device misses shots. He's gonna have to go for the
Oh,
He pushes
Dylan!
on through. Dylan is better.
Round 2, and there's another as Tyrant is finished off, and they all line up for Bone.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all shapes and sizes. Welcome back to SCS Season 5. We've got another lower bracket elimination game on the docket today. Aggro versus Smoke Break. Definitely going to be a barn burner for sure. My name is C-Daps, joined up in the booth with my good friend Adam. How are you doing today, my good sir?
I'm doing pretty good. It's going to be quite the interesting game. We have 2 teams of very interesting calibers. One looking like they're running up the SCS bracket until a few days ago where they lost and got themselves in the lower end of things. And a team that has made themselves in Challenger League. They've been through a lot of turmoil, but things are going to change today, hopefully for the better. One of these teams is going home, which is a really shocking thing to say, to be honest with you, because these are 2... We'll say 2 of the favorites. Aggro definitely fitting in that. Smoke Break, we got a lot to prove.
Yeah, I agree. Smoke Break have struggled in recent memory. However, let's not talk about the teams. Let's just talk about the players in particular. Those are the name factor that we always love to see. The beautiful stats, the beautiful names. On the side of Smoke Break, you got Twizzler, Faded, Tragical, Rob, who the coach turned Phenom, as well as Hacker. Sure, we're gonna have to get some Moss files after this game. Playing against Team Aggro, you got Splash, Eddie, Asian, Silent, and Kicks.
So we got a coach and an analyst playing today, Rob and Hacker. That is really interesting. Obviously, we saw Rob. I think he's proven himself a bit. I don't have to worry too much about him after 3 1vx's. But on the side of Hacker, on the other hand, he's got quite a bit of proving to do. We'll have to see if he can keep up with his team, because honestly, he has to if he wants to keep himself alive as well as his team in this tournament. Now, on the other hand, Eddie. On the other hand, Aggro playing with their full 5. Splash has been making a name for himself here, along with Eddie. Definitely, the ones that those 2 are going to be the ones that are running up the scoreboard. But whenever Asian, Silent, and Kicks wake up, it's going to be quite the interesting show. We'll have to see if they can, because their entire run in SCS depends on it. This is the team that honestly all of us thought was going to win the entire thing, was going to win, go to face whoever, probably Mystic or something, and go to the grand finals. And well, if they can't beat an analyst and a coach, you got to wonder if they deserve to be there.
Yeah, and what I was alluding to with my pointing is every single one of us predicted Aggro to win. And the community poll also reflects our overall thought process that Aggro are the favorites. Aggro are a really good team. They put up a hell of a fight against Honor, a quite formidable CL team. And overall, the way Aggro has evolved as a roster has been quite the treat to watch. They started off as a pug stack. They've developed strats. They've developed camaraderie across their team. They play well as a unit. They've looked really great.
Yeah. So, map bans, I can tell you, don't get excited for them, but we got them.
Yeah, I could predict these a mile away. We got Oregon, Club,
Villa.
And Cafe Villa. Yep, Villa. Yeah, if Clubhouse is on the board for Aggro, they're going to choose it. The same can be said for Oregon with Smoke Break. That's both of their very comfortable maps. They like their defaults. They like just the great equalizers of Siege. And Villa has slightly more flavor, but if Aggro comes out and plays like we know that they can, we might not need it. Or for the side of Smoke Break, if they come in with the crazy sub energy of Hacker, and Rob puts up the showing that he did against Team Bone, now turned Wichita Wolves, where on Oregon he was a phenom, he was a demon, he was the alpha and omega, beginning and the end, absolutely everything. I mean,
yeah, I did witness Rob fly off the map with an Octane jump pad, so we got to keep that in mind. But definitely on his performance on Oregon can't be understated. He won 3 1vx's, I think 2 back-to-back.
Yep.
And I mean, there's nothing to say about this guy.
It was technically 3 back-to-back, but one of them he didn't take a gunfight.
Right, because he just stuck the defuse. Yeah. So, I mean, this guy, I think he's proven himself. He's definitely one of those people that under high pressure, he knows how to view everything from an outsider's perspective. He takes his intel. He's like Jarvis, he's like Jarvis in Iron Man's suit. He's got all this knowledge. He's going to put it to use. And honestly, I'm not doubting his ability, but right now it's all about Hacker. It's all about the fact that they're not playing with their core 5. Like, no matter who it is. I mean, if you're subbing in, it doesn't matter if you're Superman. got to have that chemistry in order to win.
Yeah, and that has been a really big issue for Smoke Break, with a couple of drama-filled evenings on the timeline, but we're not going to talk about that. We're going to gloss right over it. Finding a consistent core 5 is something that Smoke Break has struggled with, and for a long season such as we see in SCS, and an especially long season in CL Challenger League, which they are currently competing in, it's something that's required and really separates the good from the great teams, where Smoke Break are kind of rolling around in the lower middle of the pack.
Yep, a lot to prove here, especially like you said in Challenger League, but here in SCS, it's just the same. I mean, they also have a lot to prove, and going up against Aggro, I mean, it's Aggro, for God's sakes. We've seen them truck basically every single team in the entire league. Let's see if they can do it once more. But we're going over to Oregon, probably the easiest map to play, a good way to introduce us into this series, especially because we have 2 subs on the side to Smoke Break. We're going to have to keep on reiterating that fact, but we're going to see our first ban, and yep, I mean, how'd you know? It's going to be a Thatcher ban, and probably followed up by like maybe a Maverick. Hibana Maverick,
Hibana
or
ban.
Valkyrie and Amira, something like that.
Yeah,
So,
Hibana, Valk, Mira, and Hib. That's my prediction. That's the bold ones I'm going to be putting forward.
bold. Whoa.
I'm in the Oracle. I guess the map bans. I'm guessing the operator bans. You know, Valk, Mira.
I don't know.
In that order. In that order. Too.
Okay. But yeah, so nothing too special here. On the side of Smoke Break, I'm really interested to see how they're going to handle their strategy. Whoa.
Darn. I'm down horrendous now.
That is an interesting ban. Now, obviously, you see this in your platinum or diamond or champ, whatever rank games. You always
even gold unranked games.
I mean, Malusi all around, just universally hated operator, and I mean, seeing her banned here, it's more the shock factor because of the fact that, you know, it's a ranked ban, and you have Mira up now, which is the biggest factor. Smoke Break, they tend to play Mira. I don't know how much, but they tend to play Mira. And on a map like this, that's just so standard. They don't need any special strategies to get themselves into this and introduce us on their defense, like we said, with the Mira.
Yeah, the way that Oregon plays out is a game of, can you take control of power positions as an attacker, and can you keep hold of them as a defender? And you start throwing a Mira into the mix, and it makes those power positions even more powerful. You have to peek against a defender who has all the information in the world, can line up a shot for 10 years, just click the Q key to lean to the left, a little bit of an A key action to move, and all of a sudden you have a headshot, and it's the match made in heaven for any defender that doesn't want to think, but can still get kills.
Match made in heaven, like you said. They're not running it this time, though. Interesting to see if they're going to be running it downstairs. That's kind of where she finds herself more commonplace. Can be useful just about anywhere else, though. But here we go. Oregon. We're going to be seeing Rob on Lagoyo as we saw him last time around. Most of these roles haven't changed. Now, obviously, you're filling a big name here with both of the Moroccans at TPA and Morocco both being gone. A lot of fragging power on TPA. Haven't seen Morocco enough because, he's also been subbed out by Rob in most cases. So, but yeah, TPA was a huge factor as to why Biblioteca were given such a hard time last time around. Obviously, they won against Smoke Break, but it's just the simple fact that Biblioteca really, really were struggling against Smoke Break in some instances. Now, it can be really difficult without a sub to challenge a team. It can be difficult with a sub to challenge a team, and Smoke Break, they brought a lot of heat. So, we'll have to see if they can continue to do this. Again, big shoes to fill, not only for Hacker, but also for Rob, as we move into round number 1. Aggro going to be taking this as per usual. We got the famous red dot on Asian, and the rest of Aggro are just...
Is it famous or is it infamous?
Oh, boy. We can
debate this for a while, but let's just move on past.
Jeez.
Do you recognize this strat? It's a question I'm going to ask to you. It's Smerasmellum, Paracellum. That's right, it's Parabellum, coming straight out of the mind of Penguin Keegan Smith, as Oni's going to get the opening frag onto Hacker. It's a strat designed to heavily hold Master and stop those split takes that so many attacking sides love to implement. Get control of Master, breach Game's wall, get control of Attic, push through there, and eventually get a concrete plant or a foosball table plant. But as soon as you have that wall that you currently see Twizzler pre-firing away on, and Rob sitting on a shield feeling comfortable, players like Rexavy will fall at the hands of a beautiful pre-fire from all those angles opened up. In the meantime, Faded has fallen to the DB&O state. Whether he will be recovered is a question to be answered later on in the round. But Faded is actually... That is Splash. Yep, that is true. My observer is whispering in my ear that Rexv-Aggro is indeed Splash. I always forget that he changed his name because he's Mystic's biggest fan. And we're going to clear that confusion for the rest of you guys sitting at home.
2 versus 3. Post plan looking to turn into a 2 versus 2 as Tragical swings the swallow. Oni's planning in a pretty standard position, and a C4 will fly his way. And Tragical gets a headshot into Asian while Faded follows it up with Silent. Smoke break on the 2 versus 3, make it look like it was nothing but a piece of cake as they take round number 1. Beautiful stuff there from the Jaeger and the Mute. Both of the players on the side of Smoke break showing up big here, big time. Didn't even notice something as well. Aggro are playing with 2 subs. Rexv, obviously, you know, you could see it. It's Rexv. And Oni. Now, obviously, that is Rexv. We're going to be talking about Rexv a lot here because Rexv is going to be playing a lot like he isn't Rexv. It's kind of weird. We'll get into it anyway. But
yeah, Rexv isn't Rexv, but he's not going to play like he isn't Rexv because he's actually Rexv and he actually switched on to Aggro and he's no longer playing with Mystic, but he's still playing with Mystic because he's not playing with Aggro.
Yes.
Because his name is Splash and sometimes he skips games for football practice.
Splash? That's Rexv.
Still
Rex. That is okay. That is Splash. But yeah, Aggro are playing with Oni, which is really interesting. Now, obviously, a little bit of a quiet change up as I mean, Kicks, he was hard support. So obviously, whenever you see your hard support player getting replaced, unless he's making massive impact frags left, right, and center, unfortunately, you're not going to be talking about him a lot. So, him getting replaced by Oni, it's a big shoe to fill, obviously, as Oni is on flank watch. But Kicks, I mean, he's that player that really can show up on Nomad sometimes. So, Oni's got big shoes to fill with that support, and obviously, it's not a very comfortable role to play on. So, I'm interested to see how he can do it, especially, you know, the fact that he's kind of gaining experience while he's doing it. I'm not calling him inexperienced, but he's not as experienced as some of the names in this lobby, especially names like Tragical, like Twizzler, and especially like Faded. So he's kind of coming into this as that inexperienced sub that is looking to prove himself. Very interesting as we get eyes on him, see if he can fill the shoes of Kicks.
Yeah, the main thing about Oni is he's a flex kind of player, flex support, put him on the non-fragging roles, and he shines a lot more. And we saw him struggle, to put it lightly, against Honor just last week. But now he's in a position that he's a lot more comfortable on. He's not on Splash's roles of second entry roamer. And on the flank watch, like you said, replacing Kicks is something where he's gonna probably and hopefully shine a little bit more. But let's talk about the push, and more so the defensive hold coming out of Smoke Break, where they have a whole lot of people allocated to the first floor. This isn't a tertiary bomb site defense. This is a secondary. They're all the way downstairs in the basement, but they still want control of kitchen as well as meeting. There's alibi prismas. There's an entire maze of rotate holes where the design of this defense is deny intel and fall back. You've got the hatches already opened, which is what Twizzler's going to use to make his great escape, Houdini-esque, if you will, as about 1 minute and 20 seconds have been burned, and now there's no longer any defenders in sight.
Pretty standard clear here from Aggros. They're going to be going over from the west side, taking in and just making sure every layer of the map is clear. It's a slow but arduous process, but it can definitely be rewarding as you can guarantee that you're locking down all flanks. So you can see Asian has made it to basically the halfway point, which is the east side. So they'll be able to get themselves inside a meeting relatively easily. Obviously, it is kind of challenging that they don't have a Habana, so they can't open these hatches lickety-split. They're going to have to work on that with Eddie. Or possibly Silent. I would assume they're going to use Silent for the walls, however, as the Selmas aren't as effective as opening hatches as the Mavericks are. But actually, I think they were opened by defenders. So E-Box hatch was opened by a defender. I believe.
I already said that. They had the hatches
open
they did. To fall off.
But here's the thing. Whenever you do that, you have E-Box hatch open. And you can see Eddie's going to take full advantage of swing from Asian, takes down Rob. Opening kill going in the way of Smoke Break, but it's immediately traded, or sorry, by Aggro, it's immediately traded as Twizzler takes down Silent, but at what cost? You've lost 2 players on the side of Aggro in Rob and Tragical. Eddie getting himself inside for the plant. He's not choking on the Toxic Babes as he has decided to plant close to the door, but that one's surely going to force him out. That's going to be the second Smoke Babes going down, but Faded goes down, so a third isn't necessary. This plant's going down. 13 seconds. Twizzler takes down Eddie for a second kill. They have no C4s for denial. They're going to have to force their guns onto this. Oni takes down Fade, and Oni's going to have to go for the plant as well. Twizzler and Hacker. 3 versus 2. Last time around, 3 versus 2 went in the way of Smoke Break, but this time is different. As Asian and Silent claim a kill of their own. Aggro take round number 2, and they'll equalize it out.
I liked the idea on paper for Smoke Break's defense. Get into the face of Aggro and fall off, but I think the fall-offs might have been a tad premature, where, like we mentioned earlier on, the hatches were opened, which saved about, what would you say, 45 seconds for Team Aggro? About 45 seconds seems fair of an evaluation, and that let Aggro really take control of pillars with absolute authority, start getting the plants down with about 50 seconds left, which is more than enough time to bait out nitro cells, 3 toxic babes, whatever the heck else you want to throw towards them, as well as maybe a couple of swings from Freezer to deny plant. Having all of the time in the world for Team Aggro let them perfectly paint the picture of what their attack needed to be. Open up that Maverick slit that allowed Asian to just use his red dot R4C to cut any swings over towards the bomb chassis. Allow somebody like, I believe it was Splash, to just start pushing up long haul, gold haul, whatever you want to call that little connector between the A-bomb site and freezer door. They could just aggressively start pushing in there, making it absolutely suffocating with the amount of pressure that they were applying towards the bomb site, that Smoke Break just weren't able to do anything.
Honestly, yeah, Smoke Break didn't have anyone inside of pillars either. They kind of just got cleared out very early on. I think it was the Mozzie last round, who I believe was Rob, playing inside of long, like you said. He wasn't really doing much to stop the attack coming from Aggro, and obviously because we talked about that the E-Box hatch was open, they didn't have to deal with that. They didn't have to waste their time opening E-Box hatch because it's for the fall-off.
E-Box hatch was open.
It was already open, though. And once you take control of upstairs, it really doesn't matter if your defenders need to fall off. It becomes free for the attackers. And yeah, Smoke Break can fall off, but the responsibility to hold pillars is definitely still there. But they simply just didn't hold pillars. So it was easy pickings for Aggro. Also very surprising that Rob got swung like that. I'm sure he wasn't expecting it as much as basically any of us were. But he got swung. He lost control along. And Hacker, great start for him. He'll take down Splash, the Zofia entry. He'll get gotted. Unfortunately, the 1x, was it 1x or 2x battle I banned? I think it was 1x. He won't see that one coming.
Alrighty. So the philosophy on the defensive side for Smoke Break is fundamentally different this time around. Instead of giving the hatches open for free because you're defending them with your lives on an implemented roam on the top floor, this is full turtle, opposite end of the spectrum. All 5 players of Smoke Break sitting in sight, patiently waiting for Team Aggro to be like their namesake and get aggressive and push into their crossfires. The only exception of that is Hacker over towards Freezer. He has the ability and capability to push up Freezer, get a little bit more aggressive, and that's what caught Splash off guard. Netted the first kill for Smoke Break, and now they can sit back and be a little bit more patient, as now Tragical is going to get aggressive. He takes out Oni. A quick refrag from the M4 of Eddie will net a kill, but some of the damage has already been done. You've lost so much utility early on with Splash falling. It's going to make burning things such as the Goyo shields a lot more difficult. There's still Wamai magnets and ADS is protecting a lot of those Aruni gates and other objects deployed by the defenders. That's making it insanely difficult for Aggro to get any foothold inside of the bomb site. You compound that in with the fact that they're down 2-4 on the man count advantage. The situation's definitely dire, but made better by Silent. Over Hacker answers back for his second kill and leaves Eddie in a 1v3 that's fated to get nothing. No impactless frags. Smoke Break take the round, looking dominant through and through. The philosophy change working out and taking the lead back for Smoke Break.
Yep, Smoke Break definitely decided to hunker down a little bit more and just kind of play off their utility. And while there is no more utility burn meta, the one that we saw basically a few months ago, there's still utility that you need to get rid of. And whenever you lose players in the midst and whenever nades don't work as effectively as you want them to, that's when things can get really hairy. That's whenever Runegates really start to show off. That's when Goyo shields start to stay up. That's when C4s start to fly at you, and that's when you are hopeless. So Smoke Break, they established their crossfires pretty well off of that, kind of using that, like you said, utility philosophy to their advantage, and Aggro just kind of didn't know what to do that time around. They kind of walked right into the strategy that Smoke Break had employed, and unfortunately it is Oregon, so you're going to be seeing that happening quite a lot of teams walking into a defender's strategies, but still, off of that, rotation there from Smoke Break, off of that site rotation. They're going back upstairs, and Aggro was able to claim a round. So now going upstairs, last time around, they only lost a 2 versus 3. So it wasn't exactly dire for them. They were still definitely in the round, and they definitely still looked good. So let's see if they can just inch it a little bit more. Just put a little bit more effort into that, and we should be able to see another round here from Aggro. But if not, Smoke Break could be really, really set to take this half.
Yeah, the way that Smoke Break played that 2v3 was nearly textbook, I would say. Faded played the back bunks position to a T. Nitro Cell to deny the only safe plant spot for Team Aggro, and then a quick swing made quick work of the Ace of Silent, and they just took the round. Playing passive when Aggro had to eventually fight against the time crunch worked into their favor because of the powerful position that they still had a hold of. Somebody inside of kids and somebody in back bunks. You can kill the person in master, you can kill them in attic, but the only bit of map control that truly matters is the bomb site, which Aggro got to slightly too late. So for this round, I would expect that they want to ramp up their checklist, ramp up their speed, ramp up their aggression, get in, get the map control that they desire a little bit faster, so they have a little bit more wiggle room late round.
Yeah, that's definitely the thing, is that, like, unfortunately it is Oregon, so a lot of teams are going to revert to defaults, but defaults can be really one-dimensional, and whenever you're going up against a defense like this, where we're going to be seeing a late rotation out of master, you can't really go with the one-dimensional option. Twizzler is playing a very aggressive position here. He wants an opening pick, but even if he gets one, he should be traded out, and he won't even get one. Unfortunately, whiffing his shots against Oni or hitting metal bars, one of the two, whatever it may be, it was simply down to being unlucky, and Oni was able to capitalize off of that. As Aggro got themselves inside of attic, they'll also find themselves a kill. So, good push so far here from them. You can see Splash has made his way into master, and you can hear the walls getting opened by the Selmas. Honestly, really good time management for Aggro. Really good for them, and they'll be able to move their way into attic. They'll be greeted with a lot of open holes and a shield watching their way, but still so much control as they also take down Hacker. It's a 2 versus 5, make that a 1 versus 5 as Silent, and, well, Splash gets a kill, and Silent gets 3. I think it was 3. I couldn't even count. I think it was either 3 or 2, but regardless, Silent basically helped them win that round, and it's going to be a flawless round.
Yeah. They did what I said. They got more aggressive, and it worked. Crazy. Crazy how that works. I'm sure they're in the casting booth with us. So yeah, they have free comms on our suggestions towards their attacking philosophy. Now we can give some help to Smoke Break, where just don't give free picks by peeking Maverick holes in attic. That's a good first step.
I think that was kind of rough. I think that Twizzler got himself into that position. He was like, you know what?
He could have dropped the hatch. The hatch was open behind him.
He also had 1 HP. So, like, it was kind of risky.
He peeked it originally.
And you know what he should have done? Not peeked it. Because he's literally a Wamai. His gadgets come with him over time. He could have had 4, but they had, like, 2.
Yeah. I mean, is what it is. We're seeing a slightly different strat come out. Same operators, different take. Instead of the pure master hold that we saw, this one's going to be extended just a little bit less. Instead of putting the shield and a lot of utility inside of master, it's going to be very trophy-centric with a slight extension over towards armory. I believe Hacker will play in that position, trying to play off of the position of Rob, swinging that Goyo shield, still having those little Rooney gates behind him in case he falls, trying to take as much utility with him. That, for the side of Aggro, is definitely going to be necessary to clear setups. And then, like an onion, there's even more layers to peel back, and there's more setup inside the bomb site. So if the utility usage of Aggro is not on point, they're not as conservative as they would like with their breaching rounds, their flash grenades, maybe even their regular grenades that they do not have. As I'm looking, I thought they were still going to be bringing the Maverick. But instead, Eddie swapped onto the Buck, and that means that they're going to go for a white coat.
They're going to be getting themselves underneath kids and trying to basically, man, I hate that call out. Can we call it like pink or something? That would be, why don't we just call it pink? Why does it have to be, whatever. Until it changes, I guess.
Yeah, we could just call it pink.
Yeah, but no one will get that. We'll revolutionize it.
We'll revolutionize it.
All right, well, for now, we'll just say Eddie is inside a kitchen, shooting upwards, making the vertical pressure work against. Nice. He gets a go shield as well. As Agent goes down here to Tragical, he's put on very low HP. He can already spot the shotgun. Here is Eddie looking for some sort of pick. Wow, Tragical is down deep. Now swinging into kitchen. Hall of beauty of a shot there onto Oni, but Oni gets the air jab down. So Tragical can do nothing from the position he's currently in except for swing this doorway and hope that somebody on aggro makes a move. Silent takes down Twizzler, however, not the move that they were hoping for. A 4 versus 3 and another shot there from Silent. 2 kills from him, and he'll be able to equalize here. 3 versus 3. Looking for possibly another. He spots one player sitting on the default plant with literally nowhere to go. Oh, Rob, a beauty of a shot there on the Silent. Stuck inside of pool table, inside of games, and Eddie takes down Tragical. All of a sudden, it's aggro starting to rush this into their behavior, but it's Rob. Rob, of all people, can win this. He's going to swing white. Last time around, he won this entire clutch from this position. Can he do it against C4? Not put to use, and an impact from Splash will be the one to put him down. No clutch for him. And aggro are starting to make this one work.
Well, that's the one issue with playing bunk beds, is it's an easy lineup and everybody and their mother knows how to, get rid of somebody in that position, whether it be a floor nade or a double tap of the impact lifeline launcher that Splash was bringing with the Zofia. Why take a gunfight when you don't need to? Sometimes utility does the best work, and that's a philosophy that aggro are bringing full effect. Now, they're up 3-2 on Oregon attacks. If you're a fan of North American Challenger League, you know that this is a pretty foreign concept to me, as I've been doing my analysis work with them, where a lot of teams can't even get a single round of Oregon attack. So maybe aggro deserve to be in CL. Food for thought. But with that being said, a successful half already with another round still left to be played is looking great for aggro. And this is on Smoke Break's map choice nonetheless. Definitely not a good omen for the CL team, as aggro are looking more and more confident in properly reading into the setups of Smoke Break. We're now going for the turtle strat once again with the Aruni gates. No, not as many shields as we once saw a couple of rounds ago. Only a single one brought by Faded's British boy Smoke that they can hide behind. Still another nitro cell in the back pocket of Rob, who's going to try to make getting the hatches open with those electro claws a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, aggro definitely, whenever they get a kill, they start to really run away with it, especially when it's late game. They really snowball that entire game and just take the tempo and put it in their hands. Now, when I say snowball, if you don't know what that means, basically when you roll a snowball down a hill, it collects more snow and gets bigger. That's basically what aggro is doing. They're taking this round every time, or just this game in general, and every time they get a kill, they get their gap and they make it larger. They just increase the pressure no matter what, and just continue to apply pressure onto Smoke Break. So that's the one thing about aggro, is that you have to be really careful when you swing them, because one pick starts to turn into two picks start to turn into 3, and it gets really bad really quick. So speaking of bad, things could go from bad to worse if Tragical is, well, if he's not caught sooner rather than later, as he's positioned himself top white, and aggro have cleared out the entirety of the northern side as if he wasn't there. They've also conveniently, I think, breached open into security, if I'm not mistaken. I think they haven't. They might have they breached open into split through kitchen. So they basically gave him a pretty easy way to rotate in without having to go to Z. That's going to be another angle that Oni's going to have to watch.
Yeah, especially being the flank watch, you can't necessarily be as passive as he would like. but Asian can be as aggressive as he wants. Rob will fall. That's the first pick going into the way of Aggro, and the snowball starts rolling down the hill. Eddie's gonna be able to take out Twizzler, but not before he fell Oni. The flank watch is now, the posteriors of Aggro are a touch exposed, but who really cares when they're starting to put so much pressure in over towards the bomb site? A quick swing from Splash will dispatch Tragical, as it's a refrag tit for tat, and it's just Faded and Hacker in a 2v3 situation. A full minute left on the clock, as it's all up to Faded. Swinging inside of Blue, drops the diffuser down with a beautiful shot right onto Eddie, but he's marked for death as his rotates are cut. His entire lifeline is gone, and the 4-2 half doesn't go the way of the defenders. Instead, the attackers of Aggro.
Aggro, they're definitely starting to run away with this series here, and Smokebreak has to catch them before they gain too much momentum. Aggro are a momentum-based team, but the problem with a momentum-based team going up against another momentum-based team is that once one team runs away with it, you can't stop them, and Smokebreak are a momentum-based team as well. Thing is, though, they have a lot that they need to, it's like trying to kickstart an old engine. Smokebreak, they were going to need a few minutes here to try and get themselves back into the series and let the momentum go into their favor. They're not a team that just wins rounds out of nowhere. They need that acceleration. They need that push, and Aggro right now are currently pushing against them. They're pushing against the tide, and it was a really successful attack from them. Even with Smokebreak running these sort of flank strategies, sometimes they simply don't work the way that we all expect them to. You know, whenever you think of an aggressive flank, you think of somebody killing the flank watch and then running down the stairs and knocking down all the attackers one by one and winning the round single-handedly. But that's not what we're seeing. Smokebreak's roams weren't really acting like another place that is applying pressure onto the attack. It was they got one kill or they didn't, and then they backed off, and that was it. Or they even got killed. Those roams were really ineffective at sometimes. Sometimes they worked out, but unfortunately not enough. Smokebreak are now down 2 rounds because of that, and they're going to have to, you know, bandage their mistakes on attack. They're going to have to claim 2 rounds here in order to equalize, and against the Mira. The Mira is being brought out here by Aggro. Didn't see it at all from Smokebreak, but we'll see what Aggro can do with it.
Yeah, the way that Aggro likes to apply roams is playing till death, which is what Smokebreak could have gone for, but the early fall-off seemed to go into their favor. But like you said, momentum always went into the side of Aggro, where they just started snowballing, and it got to a point where it was an unstoppable force meeting a thin wall of aluminum foil that they were just punching straight through. And for Team Aggro, they're looking to apply a lot more pressure. Their fall-offs aren't as clear-cut, and when you can pick up kills like Silent and Splash do in such quick succession, there's no real reason for you to fall off. There, down goes your sledge, and down goes your only hard breacher as the ace of Rob falls. So will Faded. No more Nomad, no more flanking. Also, no more utility on the side of Twizzler as everything is falling like dominoes. The snowball is almost to the bottom of the mountain. It's absolutely massive, and Tragical is going to do all he can to not just get absolutely crushed.
Smokebreak played a lot of 1vx situations in that entire engagement. They dropped the Diffuser inside a tower, and there was no one for the refrag. There was only someone trying to push back there and basically correct the mistake and be damage control, but there was none of that. Aggro just were, not even just Aggro, specifically Asian, was able to get away with 2 freebies. I'll say it, they were freebies. Aggro caught Smokebreak not pushing together. They caught them pushing very loose, and everyone was in different positions. I mean, we went back to going back to literally the round that just happened. Tragical was all the way over in Freezer. Doing what? Like, where's the rest of the team with him? Pushing down into Freezer. He's inside of the map while Smokebreak are dying on the outside. Aggro, strong round from them, but an even weaker round from Smokebreak. We talked about momentum. It's going to be a big name for both of these teams here. That's not going to help you. Smokebreak are now going to need to recover 3 rounds, and this gap is going to continue to increase if they don't catch themselves.
Yeah, and Aggro's firing on all cylinders. And once again, we got to say Smokebreak's playing with 2 subs.
That is looking a good point.
Yeah, it's looking like a dire situation where once Aggro starts showing confidence, they're a good team. And they're a damn good team. You saw with how their roam was set up there. It was designed to take gunfights, and it was designed to not necessarily deny a position, but to deny entry into the map entirely. And it worked flawlessly. It worked to a T. It worked like poetry in motion. Not a single step was made inside the building. Besides Tragical just crouch walking down Freezer to get one impactless frag.
Yeah, I mean, there's no other way to put it. Unfortunately, that was all that was. If that wasn't the impact, if it wasn't for the impactless frag, we would be we would have had a flawless round. Not sure what what Asian is up to right now. We know exactly what Splash is up to, though. He's seen that smoke break, kind of like to take this from the western side, as well, realistically every team does. And well, Rob, we expect better from you. Both the coach and the analyst go down. Hard breach and the sledge. This round can be chalked off the chalkboard because it's basically over as Silent takes out Faded. Twizzler and Tragical haven't even had a chance to get inside, and 3/5 of their entire team, their flank watch, their nades player, and their hard breach are all dead. Can't recover them. Twizzler takes down Silent, however, and Eddie refrags. It's just Twizzler in a 1 versus 3. Asian is pretty recoverable right now by Silent, who was also playing with him by Splash, who's playing with him by the small towers area. Man, what a story this is. I mean, this is an Xbox playstyle here from Aggro, and it's surprisingly working out. Smokebreak are just, they're so loose right now in the way that they're playing. They're so thinly spread, and they even, what else is there to say? The fact that they're not even able to get inside the building speaks worlds to what's going on.
Yep. It's a 1v4 for Twizzler. But he's the foot-sniffing man, and he can find that, surprise, the smoke is on site. But he more so has to worry about the off-site presence that is mounting all over the place and sprinting at him from every direction. And yeah, lots of trash talk in chat that we're gonna scroll right past. And everybody just dying over and over again.
This is, I mean, there's no other way to say it. Aggro are just stopping Smokebreak from even entering the building. That's about it. That's about all there is to say. Now, obviously, we can harp on the excuse, and honestly, I think I will, that Smokebreak are playing with 2 subs. I can't even focus.
Yeah,
there's so much going on. But yeah, Smokebreak are playing with 2 subs. There's been a lot of, I guess, turmoil going around with, their whole rostered moves, their whole tragical thing, the whole Twitter drama, the whole someone's not showing up to scrims sort of thing. And couple that with the fact that 2 big names of TPA and Morocco aren't even here to play this game.
Yeah, TPA and Morocco are actually strong players and make the team a lot better. But I guess the one thing we can say about the chat that you see on the bottom right of your screen is
10 seconds left.
I would have to say that Aggro are winning the mental game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They're winning the mental game.
Locate a bomb and defuse it.
Oh yeah, well don't forget Tragical's an FPL.
He is an FPL.
Oh!
And Splash is dead. Hacker smoked him. And Tragical smoked him.
Damn!
Don't spawn peek these guys.
They've
turned on their ranked brains. They know how to look for simple peaks now after you did it the same spawn peaks over and over again. That's the definition of insanity, the most overused quote of all time that I'm not even going to give the honor of finishing. You can really just fill it in your own brain. And just know that now that Faded has gone DBNO, no flank watch, but how much analysis do we really need when you can just look at 4 blue outlines, 5 blue outlines through the walls, and know that Silent has died. And it's just Asian and the sub of Oni against all of Smokebreak who have come to play. But Oni's still alive. He just walks up the staircase past a drone and gives somebody an entire body full of buckshot as Asian does an ill-advised peek and leaves the smoke in a 1v4 with no sight control and all of his rotations cut.
I'm sorry, someone has to say it, but that was the
That was the Leveron effect.
That was not only that, but that might have been the dumbest round I have ever watched in
Yep.
Siege.
That was. Should we even call that one Siege? That was rough.
Dumbest round we've ever seen in FPS history. Oni's about to swing him in with a shotgun. 3, 2, 1, and this guy is dead. Whoa, he actually disappeared. He literally vanished into thin air, snapped by Thanos. He's on the floor.
He's just prone.
Oni loses this round 1,000% of the time.
Yeah.
Well, that one was how do we even say it? It was
let's just
it was a 5-man take into kitchen hall, and
yeah, let's just not and say that we did, because Aggro's still on match point, and as much as I love both of these teams, I want this map in particular to be over.
I just aged like 20 years watching that.
Yep. There's a whole lot of trash talk coming out, and maybe the players will cool off in between games and we won't have to.
No.
I don't think so. But maybe Ferme will make an executive decision, go be happy Russian man, but like actually mad Russian man, and yell at them. Because you never want to give Ferme a headache. You will make your life a living hell. And right now, I'm developing a slight headache from this game.
All right, Silent. Let me just make it easier. It's M-I-C-K. Like, there's literally a song about this, man. It's
M-I-C-K-E-Y NA Challenger League.
It's spelled M-I-C-K-E-Y, not a M-I-C-K-Y. It's the Mickey Mouse Challenger League.
Nope.
Come inside, smoke breaks inside. It's the Mickey Mouse CL. Anyway, yeah. So brushing
hey
by
Jazz,
that
why are you
round,
hating from outside the club? You can't even get in.
I am underage.
Yep.
I do not want to be in Le Mickey CL. Can only get a tick. Can he get a tick?
Hey, you heard it here first. At Crater Thoughts, Jazz does not want to be in CL.
Yeah, Crater, I don't want to be in CL. Sorry. Hang it up. I'm done.
That's it. Clipped and
before it
shipped. But
started.
hey, guess what? There's a rush strap from Smoke Break, and guess what? It got stopped by a single Toxic Babe canister because they want to funnel in through a single doorway. But now they've realized that that plan is ill-advised, and they're going to try to go at different areas. They're going to start spreading out across the map.
Oh!
And
Splash!
Faded is going to be spread all across construction because he got a bullet in his face because Splash is simply built different.
This game is driving me clinically insane, but besides that points, Smoke Break have spotted a player sitting inside of Harry Potter, and you know what he's gonna do? He's literally not even gonna sprint. No, he's going to walk away and go to Tarp. Splash takes down Twizzler, and Asian takes down Tragical. It's looking like the beginning of the end here. As Tragical goes down, it's all up to the coach and the analyst in a 2 versus 5. Now, they still have Hard Breach and a Nade, so if anything, they have some utility to work with. A beautiful shot there from Rob. Takes down Splash, swinging too aggressively, as Rob might have to meet another challenger, making his way up tower stairs, all while Hacker covering the back lines. Rob goes down here and drops Case, so now it's all up to Hacker in a 1 versus 4. Now, he's got a lot of time to work with, but the question is, what can he really do with it if he's challenging against so many crossfires? Hacker moving his way down Freezer. Not sure if they know that he's here, but they have some sort of semblance of an idea, and Silent swings long. He'll take down Hacker. That's going to be map number 1, going in the way of Aggro, and no good halves. Only a god, you're awful.
Yep. Well, that's a game. That was Siege. It was a good initial showing from Aggro as they were playing with their brains, and they started playing with their all chat, and absolutely decimated the mental status of Smoke Break, who we can definitively say got their pack smoked on that war front. 7-3 victory for Aggro on Smoke Break's map choice. Once again, does not bode well for them, as they're going to be going to Clubhouse, a map synonymous with Team Aggro supremacy. They have quite the uphill battle ahead of them, to say the least.
Yeah, especially off of that map there. It could have been a 2-7 if Aggro didn't die before even playing the round that one time. But yeah, that was pretty dominant there from Smoke Break. Nothing else to say about that. And Aggro, I mean, they look pretty clinical. You know, there's one thing about Aggro, and it's no matter their competition, whether it's worse than them or better than them, they play the same, man. They're really consistent. They're a very consistent team. Give them any challenge, and they'll just play it like themselves. And honestly, that's what we saw, even with 2 new pickups, without kicks and without a player, another one. We don't have to talk about him. He's done some heinous things, but without those 2 players, they have a new team. They have Splash and they have Oni. I mean, you know, you don't expect them to be top of their performance, but obviously, I don't know who it is, whether it's their IGL or their coach or both. There's some sort of winning formula inside of them. They play the same. They're an extremely consistent team. We haven't seen them slip up once, except for that one game that dropped them down here. But against Smoke Break, it's the same old Aggro. And if we're seeing that same old Aggro, that means Aggro Clubhouse. And whenever we mean Aggro Clubhouse, I think we know what that means.
Yep, but we're going to have to wait a little bit longer for that, and we're going to toss it over to a break. So stay in your seat. We got about 5 minutes while we travel to the German bar of Clubhouse. So make sure to stay tuned.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to SCS Season 5. We've got quite a quickie ahead of us, unless Smoke Break can sort of repel back here. Aggro taking a 3-7 Oregon, and it looks really, really, really convincing from them. And now that we're going on to Clubhouse, we'll see if Aggro will live up to the hype that we've been giving them here on this map, or if Smokebreak can sort of repel back here. Like I said, we could be done here in 30 minutes if Smokebreak doesn't do something, and they could be done with their entire SCS season. I'm Jazzman. This man needs no introduction. He's CDAPS. Welcome back.
You know, last game was, I'm looking for the words of what to say, but I'll just stick with it was a game. That's all it was. It was a game.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna run right by it and never talk about it again, wipe it straight out of our memories, and try to get into this next one as quickly as possible. Aggro on Clubhouse. They're a great team on Clubhouse. The only team that they have lost to on this map is Honor just a couple of days ago, and if you're painfully unaware of who Honor is, they're a damn good team doing pretty damn well in a pretty damn good league of NA Challenger League. Whether it's Mickey Mouse or not, they're doing great. Big shout out to Pox and the boys. And now we have the game. That's good.
Yeah, NA Challenger League right now, even though everyone calls it La Mickey or whatever. I mean, it's
actually
pretty good.
it's very competitive.
It is. Is it a very good it is a very good test of skill right now. There's some pretty big names up there. Teams that are Pro League caliber probably should have been in Pro League. One way or another, Altiora, but like, you know, that's and Parabellum. Well, I'm talking about
Parabellum.
Ooh, Monkey PQ, you know, people like that. So like, it's a pretty competitive league. So, seeing Smokebreak, a team that is in this league, obviously they're kind of suffering there. They are in T2 and they talk a lot about how they're in T2, but they gotta show up results against, you know, a team that isn't even overage. They have underagers, I believe.
Yes, they do.
Eddie's also 20. So I mean,
I believe he's 20. I've heard that
he's like 20 or 19.
Yeah, he definitely has eyes on him coming next split, as he's made a name for himself and has done very well up to this point. And for the side of Aggro, they're on a comfortable map, and the bans being once again comfortable. Thatcher, Hibana, Valk, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and predict Mira. Wow, surprising as vanilla as you get for Clubhouse is nothing out of the ordinary for Aggro, as they're going to try to go on this matchup business as usual.
Yeah, really typical stuff here. Honestly, Aggro only need to be playing their defaults in order to win this one. I don't think that they need to get anything special out of the way. They can basically just play like themselves and hope that the rest comes to them. Now, obviously, like we talked about with the mirror being gone, common bans, and we're going to be seeing clinical Clubhouse being played here by both these teams, with Smokebreak starting on defense and Aggro on offense. We'll have to see how both these teams handle it. Asian is on Thermite. That is a site that I thought I would never see, and he's not sixing it. That is a site I never thought any of us would see, as Oni has taken the Ash.
Wait a second.
And Rexavy has taken, or Splash has taken the knock.
Is this... You know, this might mark a historic occasion. This might be the first Thermite red dot I have ever seen in my life.
He has access to the ACOG, man. If this guy runs red dot, I will be shocked.
I think he's going to do it, and I respect it.
He is Asian. He is very, very dead set on this red dot thing.
Yeah, he's a red dot player. You know, Mr. Observer Man, R6 Uzu, can we just, as soon as this 10 seconds goes down, immediately look at Mr. Asian? Oh, I think Uzu just came into the call. Can we immediately look at Asian when the prep phase is over to see if he's rocking red dot? Yes,
wow.
He is! First Thermite red dot I've ever seen in my life, and what a glorious sight to behold, as Eddie immediately dies to a spawn peak.
This is going to set the stage for how this game is meant to go, as Smokebreak are going to choose to uphold the mantle that Aggro did last time, which was basically spawn peeking everything. What a way to start, as Aggro are going to get themselves down into Oil Pit very early on. This is quite a typical rush, seeing as Garage is the easiest place to get into. As here's a wide swing from Faded, actually a pretty close one, and Rob takes down Asian. 2 versus 5 to open us up here. Oni taking a lot of damage. Also, running the red dot here. Basically an ode to the teammate that is usually on Ash for Aggro of Asian. But he's on very low HP. Doesn't have much to work with. Rexavy. Why is your name Rexavy, man? Why? Splash looking to get an opening pick. He's spotted one inside of Kitchen, but he isn't alone, as he's got one also playing, I think that is Tragical, playing bottom main to help with this cross. So even if Splash looks to get aggressive, if he steps 1 inch too far, he is but a dead man. Actually, it's Twizzler. Either way, it is a man with a gun. Oni's on very low HP here, unaware of Twizzler as he claims to. With the flawless round here from Smoke Break, we could be up for a very interesting Clubhouse.
Yeah, you know, Smoke Break weren't fully exhausted. Their mental's not fully chalked, and maybe they feel like they have something to prove against Aggro. Unbeknownst to Aggro, they thought that they were going to fully stamp out the burning Smoke Break players, but instead they poured gasoline and lit a fire underneath them, and really ignited their passion. And now, Smoke Break looked good. They stayed structured. And I mean, Aggro didn't get any map control or anything.
Yeah, no map control. And they didn't even notice that Twizzler was playing bottom main, which, I mean, it kind of shows that, like, you've kind of given up your hopes on the round. That is the one thing about Siege, is that sometimes, I mean, you should never give up. This isn't a call to give up. But yeah, just sometimes you know when you're beat. And that's kind of the position that Smoke Break were in. Or that Aggro were in. But this is Aggro. I mean, they can bounce back whenever they feel like it. So don't expect this round to be a spectacle from Smoke Break. It's probably going to be Aggro waking up once again. But who knows? I mean, I'm not one to look into the future. For I cannot tell it. But I can be as close to it as possible. I can assume that this was a fluke from Aggro, and they're going to carry the momentum forward. But we'll have to see. Eddie back on Buck, and it looks like we're going to be playing a pretty typical round of Siege here from Aggro. They're not going to be going for any oil pit rushes. They brought the Maverick. They brought the Ace. They mean business.
Yeah, more so than anything, Asian is no longer on the red dot thermite. Gone but never forgotten. He will live in our hearts forever. But Silent once again on the Maverick. That's a sight that we come to expect, and he's does a pretty good job at mapping the wall with peak efficiency. He's gonna go for the double wall, a little bit ambitious, but ever since Maverick got an extra canister of gas, you can do maneuvers like that pretty easily. And especially because there's not really any anti-breach. There's an Electro Claw that was already removed. Actually, I think both Electro Claws are on the rafters, protecting the two bottom garage walls. And the only thing kind of helping supplement the breach of CCTV is the Aruni gates that will have to be burned before an entryway is fully opened up. Or else the aggro attackers might take 40 damage as they sprint through, because lasers aren't fun and kind to the skin. But as one of those Surya gates goes down, Asian's going to be able to take out a hacker. That's a beautiful headshot in entry, as Eddie's also going to attack onto Tragical. It's get the breach open and explode in on sight, as Aggro are doing like their namesake and getting quite aggressive. Rob also falls at the hands of Asian, and the shotgun out with the skeleton key will make quick work of Faded as Silent falls Twizzler, and boom, boom, shakalaka. Flawless round for Aggro as they bounce back.
Why not give them a flawless round just like the one that they were up against last time around? Why not just show your prowess there, even though Silent was battling the biggest boss of them all, which was the CC wall? Good attack there from Aggro all around. Very well harmonized. I mean, everything was just put together in pieces, and it really came to fruition at the end. Again, Silent able to open up that wall, basically perfectly timing it with the construction push, which was also perfectly timing it with Eddie's entry inside. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. This Aggro team just has natural chemistry, man. They just push in at the right time. They make little to no mistakes, and they just get it done. They got it done. They got the job done, got in, got out, and were completely clean, as not a single man fell that entire round from them. What a way. But Aggro We're gonna have to see a little bit more from them, as we're gonna be seeing Smoke Break once again going upstairs, bringing out the dock this time around from Twizzler. Not a very common sight anymore, as he has lost his ACOG. I think they have subbed out. Well, they've actually subbed out quite a few operators. They've lost their. Let me think. Mozzie and Maestro. And actually their Malusi. They basically switched up their entire setup here. Bring in the Wamai probably to fortify. Oh, you know what? That was last round. Oh, jeez. Yeah, but they have brought in Twizzler anyway. Really interesting sight.
Yep. Twizzler on the dock, the flying Frenchman. Stripped of his ACOG, but still has a 1.5 on that MP5. So, gonna try to do some work, staying alive inside of rafters for as long as possible to establish those crossfires to stop the inevitable flood of the breach and construction that Aggro implemented just a few rounds ago. But now as Asian picks up the thermite once again, they read into the fact that, surprise, surprise, there's nothing on the wall, so they can get it open for free. As soon as that happens, Twizzler violates his Hippocratic Oath, now overheals as he took down Silent, is looking to take more gunfights. There's a repelling player cutting off his rotation through those head holes, but it doesn't matter as Eddie will fall once again to the Frenchie. He'll heal himself back up to 100, so it's like nothing ever happened. And he's still alive inside of rafters as Asian onto the breach. It no longer has that luxury.
Interesting they've opted to keep Tragical not inside a garage, but instead keep Twizzler, but obviously Twizzler has fallen as well. Kind of showing you that you probably shouldn't stick a dock there anymore. He doesn't even have an ACOG anymore. And chances are, if you're going to force somebody outside of rafters, it's not going to be through bullets, but through nades. But that time around, it was through bullets, and that's kind of what Twizzler was brought in there for, to kind of counter the bullets and heal himself back up, and obviously it worked for a very short period of time. It was enough for Aggro to basically lose their entire team. So, Smoke Break, 2 versus 4, Oni on very low HP, Splash, Falling Rob, first kill. Oh yeah, first kill of this 2v4 for Aggro. They lose out Rob. I mean, if there's anyone to be in a 2 versus 3, I wouldn't put Oni on the docket, especially given his HP scenario, but he is going to try and do it anyway. The smoke isn't going to cover him fully, but he'll be able to get inside to everyone's surprise, and yeah, that was kind of expected. Hacker will take him down. It's just Splash in a 1 versus 3. Now, if there is anyone you want in this situation, it might be Splash. He's definitely been fragging out for his team, and he'll take down Tragical. Beautiful shot there from him. Looking for a second as he runs through the gas, pushing against the tide, looking for Faded, just waiting for that Jaeger to swing, but he's got constant intel against him. He'll take that down. Splash looking for Faded, but he can't get it. What?
He whipped out the plant on that. I did not know you could plant on that table.
You can just plant anywhere.
Yeah, that's true. That was an interesting plant spot.
If it's a spot, I could probably plant there.
Yeah. Interesting. But you know, surprises aside, the end outcome from the initial early round that we saw Smoke Break where Twizzler popped off was the expected result. Really well done to hold on to rafters for as long as possible. And who else other than the Doc, who as soon as you see go into a defensive lineup, you kind of scratch your head a bit, you squint and look at the screen, you're like, am I seeing this right? All of a sudden, I hop into a time machine and go back to 2018, holding a dock and rafters. But no, your eyes did not deceive you, and the kill feed didn't either, as Twizzler went massive, was able to constantly heal himself up and take gunfights that he wasn't at a health disadvantage for, and ultimately ended up winning his team that entire round.
It's been a lot of these sort of plays being made that wins rounds, and that's kind of the name of the game. That's kind of what we've been seeing on Aggro for the longest time. It's basically what has defined their team. You know, they set the bar and they just kind of frag. They play off each other, get each other's trades, hold each other's crossfires, and you get results. But right now, not the results we're expecting. As Smokebreaker up a round, given it is just 1 round. Can't count it out just yet. Spawn peek. Oh, Tragical. Patiently biding his time. He'll take that fight onto Silent, and considering that he's rotated away, no refrag ability here for Aggro. They'll be down a man extremely early on, and wow. feel like I'm casting T4 again. All these spawn peaks working out so well here for Smoke Break. Really easy spawn peaks too. Ones that should be caught out fairly early.
Yeah, I mean, for as much of ranked as Aggro plays, you should really expect those peaks, but Asian swapped onto the Blackbeard, has a second and third life, if you count bullets to the head as a life. And he makes full use of his second chance by taking out the hot hand of Tragical. Not necessarily hot, we'll give him a lukewarm. 3, 2, and 3, not looking too bad, as now Faded will fall, met the same fate as his teammate of the Wamai. And now Aggro has control of the site. They just walked in from dirt and can now cut rotations inside of blue. It's a 3v4 situation made even more dire as Rob on the Maestro falls, leaving just Twizzler and Hacker alone for everything that Aggro has. The Nitro Cell shot out of the air. Somebody was hitting the AIM Lab Combine to get that trajectory fully on point. As Twizzler maybe should have hit 100k on AIM Labs, only 99 as he'll go down to his grave. Eddie the superior aimer, and Oni hopping off the plant dispatches Hacker, and Aggro take another round quite dominantly. Oh, it didn't get shot, it got stuck on the doorway.
Whoops. That could have been a pretty round defining C4 as well. But it was not meant to be, I guess. So Aggro back into this 2-2. A really sort of just walk-in-esque take. Seeing a lot of those. It's starting to become a pattern where we just see an attacker literally walk into the site and just take it. I never thought that I would see this again, but here we are. I guess it is Aggro on Clubhouse, but whatever. I guess. 2-2 though. Pretty equal stuff. I would say that Aggro kind of, I don't know. None of these teams are really convincing right now. I think both these teams are just exchanging blows. One round, one team just spawn peaks and wins. The other round, one team walks into the site. I mean, how do you really predict this game? I need the CL analysis, Dapolonia. Hit me with it.
In the great words of Oni-Aggro, Lamau. That's my analysis.
Incredible.
Yep, that's what they pay me the big bucks for.
That's what,
Reach chat.
there it is. Uh-oh. Tragical going for common spawn peak number 3 here. And believe it or not, he doesn't get away with it. Oni almost loses his life there, and what a tragic...
He lost like 7 HP.
Well, he was getting shot at, so he would have lost his life if he didn't shoot back. I would say that would have been a tragic event had they lost their hard breach.
You know what is a tragic event?
What?
Asian will no longer be able to play this configuration on Doki after the new update.
Oh yeah,
Red Dot on the MK14, losing all 1x sites. That right there is tragic. As, you know, it looks interesting, but even more so is Rob's Roam netting yet another kill. Able to drop inside of rafters and has the idea that there's somebody lurking in Swamp, and it's Asian too accurate to rip his head straight off. But Faded and Hacker tacked on a couple of frags in the meantime. Faded could be revived, and yes, he did. I'm gonna assume that Hacker was the one doing the field medic duties inside a site, making this essentially a 1v, or not essentially, making it a 1v3 situation for poor Asian to try to clutch out with a semi-automatic DMR. However, with that being said, we've seen certain players, Aaron Bonilla, pop off with this same DMR, but it was on the defensive side as opposed to the attacking one. Quick phone call will give the audio cues for Smoke Break to have to shut down, but it's met now as a beautiful shot coming out of Asian, proning and snaking his way through sight and dropping and dispatching of the Jaeger. Now, the situation is a lot more winnable. Still a minute and 20 seconds to work with to gather intel. Could start droning or could just start face checking these two defenders who are completely isolated positions and not really playing together besides their swing that is well timed and will rip the head right off the poor Dokkaebi.
Twizzler will show why Malusi is a very, very necessary operator in certain circumstances, and right there is why. You can basically distract Aggro or well, just about anyone with a well-placed Melusi, and that basically becomes a second enemy that you are trying to peek and destroy, because you can't shoot them for some dumb
Not
reason.
yet. It was alluded to, but not quite implemented, and I'm counting down the days, the hours, the seconds, the
literally have no idea
milliseconds,
why.
the nanoseconds, until one day the Melusi Banshees open up like a flower that you can just shoot the ever-loving crap out of and make them go away.
I literally just don't get it. I don't get why they would make that operator. It should not exist, but it does. And the thing is that, the counter to Melusi obviously is to get gadgetry and just throw it at the Melusi, whether it be Ashe charges and Zophia's. That's kind of why whenever you have a team composition, you always have a primary and a secondary entry. You have an Ashe as your primary and a Zoe as your secondary. That's 5 total destruction, 5 total destruction equipment, if you want to call it that. Obviously, you have to use 3 of those for Melusi's, or you can get close enough to melee them, but that's where the risk comes in with Melusi, is that you can't really melee them all the time. Sometimes they are simply too out in the open, so you either have to deal with them or use your utility. You also have the Gon 6 being added into play, and that's why we see operators like Zero and Iana coming into play, because they have 1 impact charge each. So, realistically speaking, you can have an Iana on nades, a Zero on flank watch, an Ashe and a Zoe on primary and secondary entry, and then your hard breach. And in that case, you have 10 things to destroy with. 2 nades, 2 Gon 6s. Wait, no, 9 things. And then 5 impacts. Tragical, however, sends Silent Sky High, one of those entries that we were talking about. That's the secondary, and he literally flew. That man vertical jumped about 20 feet and then just flew back.
Yeah, that's just how it goes sometimes. The Silent is slowly cursing away his 1 in 5 start. And now, I'm just imagining he's slamming his desk and feeling sad. But pretty much just as sad as Rob and Faded, who both met similar fates in similar time proximities. As the man count advantage, the pendulum of man count swings back into the favor of the aggro attackers, who are looking to try to get this split half. 3-3 is where they want to be. They don't want to be staring down the barrel of a 4-2 deficit, and Hacker didn't want to be staring down the barrel of Splash's L85 that will send him to a retirement home a little bit earlier than he would have liked. Twizzler finally answers back onto Eddie, making it a winnable 2v3 situation. But now his location's known, but so is Oni's and the diffuser inside of Condor. More damage traded back onto Twizzler, but Tragical has a chance, at least, of killing Splash. Now as Asian hits it from the back, Tragical falls down, and it's Twizzler in a 1v2. The diffuser recovered over towards the construction door, and the execute coming up soon.
Twizzler, low HP. But he's got 2 players isolated here, also both on low HP. Swinging Asian, he'll down him. That's the 3rd kill for Twizzler. Rexaby, Splash on 1 HP, literally just 1. The shotgun might be enough damage. He's going to swing wide here, but it's a very inconsistent shotgun. But again, with literally 1 HP on his back, this could work out. He just can't miss his shots. That's all that matters. Twizzler, he knows location of Splash! Give him 4 kills! Smoke break take around they absolutely shouldn't have. But with both Asian and Splash on low HP, it'll be Twizzler to claim 4 lives that entire round. It's murder on the gym bedroom
it's
hold.
The Bolo charm.
And it's 4-2.
Not murder, it's the Bolo charm.
Of course, it is the Bolo charm.
Yep. Simply built different. What a round from the Frost. An operator who, in recent times, ever since the EUL major, really started getting brought into the meta because people realized, hey, she has a shotgun, she has a deployable shield, she has a pretty damn good weapon with the 9mm with the 1.5. It's like a truck. Sure, it shoots kind of slow, but like 3 body shots across the map. That's ARX numbers, essentially, on the damage department. And no recoil, as well as the frost mats, which are very underappreciated. You put them on a window, and it requires the attackers to change the location of their crosshair. They have to look down. And then that's where you can strike. Or if they decide not to look down, they die. And it's a nice surprise fact. Alrighty, but now the defensive side for Smoke Break is done and dusted. It's Aggro on the defensive where they are typically a lot stronger. They look a lot better. And even though as much the Clubhouse is a lot more even, I'd still say it's really defender-sided. Do you agree?
I mean, yeah, inherently this game is defender-sided, but like you said, even overall map. So whenever we say even overall map, we can kind of mean it still is defender-sided. Again, just because the game is inherently defender-sided. It's the way it works. I don't make the rules. But yeah, I think that it's just a little bit of comfortability. You know, a lot of people are more comfortable on defense because you don't have to do any work on defense. You have to let the attackers come to you. As oh, that's actually that's a certified CNAP strategy right there, trying to impact the Maverick to death. But they didn't do it right. You have to impact while the bottom is getting got. So didn't get that one properly. CNAPS is absolutely fuming right now because he literally invented this strategy. Well, I guess it was
not hard, just throw them.
So, but yeah,
you have one button.
They'll get the wall open, and Smoke Break now, it's up to them to just transition over to a construction side defense or a garage take. But so far, pretty incredible. Incredible there from Tragical. 1 damage.
He wants his assist onto Oni.
Smoke 99.
Yep, Smoke is indeed 99. Alrighty. Oni with less HP than he would like. Who doesn't want 100 when you can have 99? And Splash now has 0 to the F2, ripping the head clean off the Wamai, removing him from rafters and stopping the constant regeneration of his magnets to stop utility usage. Twizzler also able to pick up a kill onto Eddie, stopping the roam as Tragical is going to pick up another one onto Oni, finishing up what he left off with the taser. And then Smoke Break just kills everybody else in the blink of an eye. Wow. It be like that sometimes.
We are on the cusp of a possible map 3 as Smoke Break are looking stunning right now. Putting Aggro into the position that they put Smoke Break in literally last map, a 5-2 for Aggro. It's very possible that we could be going to Villa and my chemistry homework is not going to get done. So, pretty incredible stuff there from Smoke Break. So, now that we're at this sort of mark where it's 5-2, where Smoke Break are, I wouldn't say clearly, but they pretty much crossed the line where they are in the advantage. We can kind of give Smoke Break some credit, especially their attacks have been very fluent. They have been pushing together quite a bit, and they've also been pretty much getting all the objectives done that they need to. A lot of the walls are getting open that they need to be. Shields are getting cleared. I mean, this is just clinical siege right now. And also clinical performance there from Twizzler as he's dropping literally 11 frags. The only double digits in the entire game right now. That could change very quickly, though, as both these teams are pretty aggressive and have some very aggressive players. But for now, Twizzler definitely getting the credit he deserves. Let's see if we can carry on, however. Smoke Break, Aggro are not done just yet. They can come back in a heartbeat. It's up to Smoke Break to hold them back. It's up to Smoke Break to take literally just 1 round so they can keep Aggro in a position where they're under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, Aggro, we said on Clubhouse they're insanely strong, and they've looked quite the opposite, as what it comes down to is Smoke Break are playing like a team, and it seems like they have something to prove. They really got rubbed the wrong way with all of Aggro's trash talk on Oregon. Now it's all coming to light that maybe Smoke Break might just deserve their spot in CL. Don't know if that's a opinion or a, let's just call it a pill that a lot of people are going to be willing to swallow. Quite a tough pill, if you will. But the results speak for themselves right now, and Aggro not in a great spot at all.
Yeah. Whenever we see whenever we see Aggro down, it's really rough to count them out. But we can for the time being, as we are in the present, and obviously them coming back is in the future. Right now they are 5-2. That is a pretty good advantage. And if Smoke Break can honestly just get one attacking round, then it becomes a massive advantage. They literally just need one solid, not perfect, nobody said perfect, but a solid attack. And the pressure is going to start to mount. We can see a dirt push starting to come on here from Toysler. Dirt pushes can be really synonymous with being unexpected, but they can also be really, really rough because it's, you know, it's a pretty bottlenecky area. Even if an attacker gets inside, he's only able to hold one specific angle, and that's usually over by dummies. Can't really do much unless he swings aggressively, and by then he would have been killed. Asian, however, gets the opening frag here. A really good start here from Aggro, and they're looking to expand that as both Asian and Silent are making their way up the stairs. Asian looking for a second, and he'll claim just that as he takes Twizzler down, swing for third, but Asian goes down to Faded. Damage control being done by Faded, but they've lost 2 members now. With 45 seconds left, they're going to have to recover something. Maybe another pick. We'll have to see.
Yep, 40 seconds left, and not a horrible situation for Smoke Break. It's still salvageable as the diffuser gets pulled back into the back pocket. Rob, a beautiful frag onto Splash, but met just in time as Silent's going to go for 2, essentially killing all momentum that Smoke Break had surmounted. Now it's just Faded on his lonesome with a little bit of vertical pressure and not a lot of time. He needs to get into the bomb site, and the first shot onto Silent is absolutely beautiful. Wow. A work of art, but he's gonna have to drop the hatch right into the loving arm of some Toxic Babes and a crossfire. He could drop into Dark and try to get this plant down, but the time is not looking into his favor. He's gonna take out a Maestro Cam to deny any intel, free fire away on Dirt, and inevitably just hop off and save the KD. A valiant effort with a highlight clip, one that we're going to see in a montage onto poor Silent over on the Moto Hall, but that's about it.
Aggro getting a much needed round, getting a breath of fresh air as they were looking pretty down that last time around. They were in a position where if Smoke Break got that round, it's a 4-round deficit that they would need to climb themselves out, and it would only take them to OT. Now, they're on defense. They're going upstairs. They can right the wrongs, and they can start to put this in their favor, and they'll only need 2 more rounds to equalize. And at that point, it's anything goes. So, Aggro, just 2 more rounds. All you got to do is push through them, and the game will be looking completely different. But for now, Smoke Break still in the advantage here. 1 bad round doesn't mean it's all over for them. It was a 1 versus 3, so the round wasn't exactly... It was basically decided by Asian swinging up. And the response time to that was really slow from Smoke Break. They were, they lost 2 players before they got rid of Asian. And at that point, they weren't able to get any sort of refrags. They weren't able to get any sort of value out of the positions that they were in. So they had to go for that push, and it went pretty rough. So,
yeah, rough's an understatement.
So we'll have to see what Smoke Break can do from this. As obviously, again, they're still in the advantage. But not as much as we once were at.
Yeah, I mean, Smoke Break just kind of killed everybody. They didn't really do a whole lot. They just took every gunfight and won it. It was organized chaos to its fullest extent, and we could call it lightning in a bottle, if you will. The kind of aggression that they threw out. And the unfortunate sort of nature of the situation is that lightning typically doesn't strike twice. However, Smoke Break are going to try to change that law, change that ideology, as they're already set up with 3 people on plat and aggressively peeking down on the bottom side towards Garage. And nade narrowly missing onto Silent as he got stuck on the shield. And Twizzler's going to be stuck on plat. That's one way to kill a Maverick, sure. Using impact nades is more fun, but when good old-fashioned bullets do the job right as the wall turns soft, all of that could have been avoided if somebody was just on CC window. But instead, you got the Wamai stuck in Harry Potter.
What is Silent looking, or what is Splash looking to accomplish here? He is not holding up this position. He is not giving it up at all. That ace charge is going to go off behind him. That's actually 2 ace charges used, however, from the side of a Smoke Break. So, I mean, I guess you've gotten the Selma's gone. but it doesn't really matter. All that matters is that now they just can't go into con. Fade is going to go down. How is Splash still alive? He'll take down a player with him as he goes to the grave. Eddie claims his second. That was just chaotic from Aggro, and somehow they come out the victors of that entire exchange. Shocking to say the least, and they kind of just threw their brains out the window for that play. And you know what? It worked.
Yeah, it did work. I mean, Splash should not have been allowed to live for as long as he did, but he did a great job, as that shot onto Eddie was great from Hacker, but wholly impactless. A 1-for-1 trade in a 2v4 situation isn't good math onto the side of Smokebreak's attack, and neither is the math onto the skull of Rob. Asian, a stinker of a shot, a red dot man himself, picking up where Splash left off, holding down to the bottom of Garage, and taking another round for Aggro as they're slowly chiseling away at the gigantic lead the Smokebreak once found themselves in, as it's crumbling into a bunch of pebbles.
Yeah, that was Aggro just basically, we talked about the momentum on Oregon. We didn't see a lot of it in action, but right now we are. That is 2 rounds in a row where Smokebreak could have put this on match point. That's 2 rounds in a row where they didn't. I mean, what is there to say? Smokebreak, they looked so good up to this point. They caught Aggro at a bad time, but Aggro woke up. They're like a sleeping bear, and they've been poked. And we are starting to see just how effective Aggro can be when they are having a good round. Not even a great, just a good round. It literally gives people superpowers, such as Splash playing in Harry Potter and outliving his life expectancy.
Especially with the breach open.
With the breach open, not only in the top right corner that you typically see, but also open, like for entry. You don't see that on that. Usually whenever you enter into Garage, it's through the left panel because it's a lot safer. But they opened both sides of the breach. Or they opened the right side of the breach. First of all, no idea why they did that, but they did it. Second of all, Splash should have been dead. Should have been dead. But he wasn't.
Yep. Always be like that. Really rough as Smokebreak were looking so good, and then as soon as they swapped to the defensive side, it hasn't been a fun ride for them. By any stretch of the imagination, they've struggled at every corner, and everything that we could praise on their defensive front all of a sudden became a similar issue where they were struggling to get map control, unlike their roams that were struggling to give up map control. For the side of Aggro not being able to break it down. And now we're at least going to the tertiary bomb site, which is where Smokebreak can maybe bounce back. Weaker of the 3, especially in Aggro's case. For the side of Smokebreak, the only reason it was won in the single time it was played was off of the heroics of Twizzler on the Frost, who now is on the Maverick and made quick work of the wall, offering a nice way to burn utility inside a bathroom and eventually, potentially, vault in. However, Oni sees this as an absolute win. He sees it as free real estate. He's just crouch walking up until he gets droned. And that could have been a good play had the information gathering tool of the attacker not sniffed him out.
Pretty typical take here. Jacuzzi sided one, and well, also going to try and get themselves inside of Logi, and Nade burnt. Actually, Eddie got that kill. I didn't even notice that. That man just kind of got wiped from the face of existence, but he's also being pushed out. As Tragical is just playing on this L hall. He's going to get smoked through the wall. A little bit of propagation there, and Smokebreak have made it really far right now. Aggro should be kind of code redding this. They got to realize that Jim might not be so safe anymore, and they're going to have to get something going for them. Oni, he's got one inside of the site with him, but Aggro just claiming kill after kill. Rob and Twizzler each got one. A swing from Oni takes down Twizzler. It's all up to Rob in a 1 versus 3. He's been in one of these before, but it's not going to be this one to win it out for him as Eddie goes massive. Aggro take round number 10. I can't believe it, but we're even.
you know, Aggro came back. It's tied up 5-5. And their defenses have looked really good. It looked really good. Besides the one kind of mark on their repertoire is that one dominant round that we saw Smokebreak employ on CCTV. But that's not the bomb site that's up next. Basement, Church, and Arsenal Room, a flawless 2-0 on potential for Aggro if they're able to replicate the success that we saw just a couple of rounds ago, where it wasn't very good for Smokebreak. It was what 1v3 with just the sledge alive, a late rotate down main met with the aggression of Silent on the Malusi, picking up 2 of his 4 kills. I'm not a mathematician, but 2 out of 4. That's half of his kills for the entire game in a single round. So maybe this is just his bomb site, is where he feels most comfortable. Maybe he's able to swing bottom main for free without the vertical pressure above that Faded probably should have done before they pushed bottom main. He could replicate the success that he once had. However, hopefully on Smokebreak's side, they learn from their mistakes and they better themselves in order to eliminate the position of Aggro going to match point and confirming at least overtime on their map choice, where as the rounds have continued to progress, they've looked better and better and are on an upward momentum swing.
Momentum. We talk about it a lot. It's a mysterious force. It's a force that plays psychological tricks, and it exists. It definitely does. We're seeing it firsthand. Aggro were down 3 rounds. And all of a sudden, they got pushed up for 3 more. We are now equal. Momentum is real.
It is.
And that right there is a prime example.
Momentum is mass times velocity.
That is also true.
E equals MV.
But mental momentum. That is a mysterious force. Silent takes down Twizzler. And second, actually there's 2 players in double digits, so one of the half, and now both double digits players going down. It's Tragical literally walks down main. We've been seeing a lot of that from both sides of the coin. Now it's time for Smokebreak to do that. And yeah, really invigorating attack here from Smokebreak as they get bottom main control.
Yep, absolutely riveting. Innovation. As Rob hits a stinker of a shot onto Oni. Don't know why he was peeking the hatch from dirt, especially as Smoke, a paramount defender for the late round execute stop. As Tragical has the reaction time of a grandpa, but I'll give it to him in the fact that Silent was moving at Mach 10, just sprinting across the bomb site. He reclaimed the dirt position that Oni left vacated, not wanting to give up that crucial backbone of the defense, and just picking up where the rest of his team left off. But as it stands, after the smoke of the initial execute, you know, the initial gunfights kind of wavers away and dissipates. It's a 3v3 and it's all even. However, you still got to give a little bit more of the idea towards Smokebreak. They have the hatch open. They have a little bit of vertical pressure. And Splash is just inside of... Wow! We missed a double C4.
Wow.
And that, yeah, that changed the round. That changed absolutely everything, as now Tragical found his way into the bomb site. He was down bottom main for pretty much the entirety of the round, but now finds himself in the crossfires of all crossfires. He will fall at the hands of Silent. And now, Aggro are on match point. The comeback is real.
Aggro have taken 4 rounds in a row. 4? No. I can't count. Well, yes, I can. 4 rounds in a row. That is nothing short of shocking. I don't know how we got up to this point. We definitely should not have. But here we are. This Smokebreak, we're up 5-2. Whenever you look at a 5-2 scoreline, it's like, yeah, that's pretty convincing. That's a convincing lead. Smokebreak need literally 1 round to put it in a match point. They can't get 1 round. They can't. And Aggro got 4. Wow, that is... I mean, Silent quite literally lever unaffected his entire team and then just didn't say anything, and then all of a sudden here we are. Splashes onto Chunk as well. I don't know if that's the deciding factor for how this... Has he gotten buffed yet? Has he gotten his buff?
Who?
No, he hasn't, because Jaeger still has 30 bullets.
Yep, he has not gotten his buff yet.
So Rexavy is Splash is playing on a
slow Shamuka.
Yeah, a pretty slow Shumika.
Shumika launcher.
Yeah, let's see if it works. I'm really interested. I think Tachanka is a very interesting operator, just in the way that his nades work. You know, you can kind of get lineups and they can go really far. I think it's cool. Cool concept. Let's see how Splash puts it to use.
Attackers must locate and defuse
Yeah.
the bomb. Attackers
I think this is one of the few bomb sites where Tachanka does have competitive viability. So yeah, maybe we'll have some fun here as Splash donning the Lord, the Russian man. Could do a lot of damage if Smoke Break go for a highly aggressive take that we've seen them go for before. Get the wall open and try to push in as quickly as possible.
Wow.
But there goes Faded.
Wow.
And there goes Splash. The double T's, Twizzler and Tragical, both picking up a couple of kills in quick succession. The Aruni gate's now burned, offering a painless way into the bomb site if the vault prompt is the pathway Smoke Break want to go for. Considering they have the man advantage, they can start getting a little bit more aggressive. Eddie, the roamer, being recalled back to the site because 2 of his anchors died in only a minute. There's now 3 outlines go in. Asian, unfortunate in his timing, looks away at just the wrong moment. Can't quite hit one shot, but Tragical can hit his. A double kill in his names. It's just Oni and Eddie left alive as Aggro. They need to win this round and not go to overtime. And it's not looking too hot.
4 versus 2. You have Eddie, a very strong player, and Oni, one that needs to definitely show up. This is the round where he could do it. 3 gas grenades in his pocket. This is very winnable for Aggro if they just play their cards right, but still unlikely. Nades coming through. Rob is going to get choked out, but he should be able to get into default pretty soon once these gases are gone. Aggro not aggressing too much. Eddie just playing this angle very close. Rob is going to go for a very quick close plant. Gas grenade should force him out here, and it will. He's on very low HP now, but that's the last gas grenade. That's all that Oni has to work with. Now he's going to have to hope that his guns can do the trick. As Hacker now going for the plant. They've actually swapped out these players, but Eddie will claim him either way. There goes the Ana. No more nades to force anyone out. Eddie swings. He gets Tragical as well. 2v2. Oni's got Rob in his sight lines. Swinging wide is going to be Rob, but Oni can't claim that kill. He'll take down Eddie. Oni, if there's any way to prove himself, it's right now. 1 versus 2. Twizzler with a cover now. Effectively a 1 versus 1. He's made his way inside of Cash. Rob going to hop off of the plant. They're going for the kill here. Rob is getting really aggressive with his plant. He almost goes down. He does, but Twizzler with perfect cover. Smoke Break goes to OT. You know what that means. It's SCS. It's time for Infinite Overtime.
Yay.
Whether you like it or not.
I'll have to say, definitely part of the latter half. But you know, competitive integrity, blah, 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 blah. You don't want overtime to essentially be a coin flip on whose map choice it is and getting the defensive side. Both teams have acquired the 4-2 defensive split. But now, Smoke Break's back on the defensive, a side that we haven't seen since round 6. And in round 3, Twizzler made his name known to be the best Doc I've ever witnessed alive inside of Raptors, which is a performance that has very big shoes to fill for himself. But if anything, maybe he's grown as a person. Maybe his feet have hit up a couple more sizes. Instead of 3 kills, he's going to go for 4.
He's almost there. So close. But Smoke Break, it was a little bit late, but they got the round they needed to. So here we are. I really don't know how this game is going to go. I'm honestly in a position where it's like, I just... God knows what can happen. This is a very interesting match here. Smoke Break, they almost looked like they were just on the verge of kind of just crashing and burning. They recovered where they needed to. They'll be on the defense, which has been looking way better for them than their attacks. Let's see what they can make of this in overtime. They've got a lot of chances to work with, considering it is infinite, but it only takes 2 mistakes to end your game.
Yep. Alrighty, so 6-6 overtime. Win by 2. That's what infinite means. You gotta win an attack and a defense in order to come out on top. And Rob.
Oh, you could have recovered that.
Yeah, that was a interesting C4. Interesting is a word that I'm gonna use in lieu of something more negatively connotated, because it wasn't the best. However, him shooting silent and making sure that the wall hasn't quite finished yet. That's actually Twizzler. Twizzler's the one who's built different. He is the cojones. He is the gonads to just keep on peeking this. Even though he is slightly exposed to the CCTV window. However, Aggro has not rotated a player onto that position quite yet to attempt to help the poor Maverick of Silent get this breach fully open. Which now he does. Eddie, in the meantime, takes out Rob. That's starting to break down the horizontal roam. He's also able to take out Twizzler. It wasn't the roam, actually. It was the anchors, as he just jumped in CC window with a man on a mission. Skeleton P out, takes out Hacker, switches to the C8, but can't quite get it done on Tragical. The DMR doing too much damage to the body, but the damage to the team might have already been done, as they're in absolute shambles. Oni gets the diffuser down. The crossfires are all established. Oni and Splash finish it off. Aggro explode onto the bomb site with the fury of 1,000 suns and take the round, the first one of overtime.
Will it be the last is the question that we'll be asking multiple times. That's one thing about infinite overtime, is that there are absolutely 0 guarantees. You never know what could happen. Everything could change with one mistake at this point. All that Smokebreak need to do is slip up once on this attack, and their entire run that they've worked for on SCS will crumble, will be in shambles. It's crazy. Infinite OT is really where your skill is tested. It's really where basically any mistake that you make will be magnified. It'll be put on the spotlight, and basically kind of be the reason why you win or lose a round. It's crazy. It's crazy that literally one round decides whether Smokebreak stays in SCS or not. You have to wonder if that pressure is going to be, or if they, I guess, don't care. I think they care. I think they care a little bit. We'll have to see.
Yep. And they're going down to the tried and true basement. Bomb site that Smokebreak have not been able to win on their attacking side. Aggro seeming too strong on their primary bomb site, their bomb site of choice. Where last time around it looked promising, and then we saw the Malusi of Silent just sprint across all of the bomb site to reclaim dirt, and then get a double nitro cell to boot. So the Silent had a good round. Triple kill, I believe, also got the final kill. And then now he's not going to have to retake dirt because he's playing in it. A quick roll change between Oni and Silent, as the smoke will be mantled by the aforementioned Silent. And Oni will be playing his Malusi.
Yeah, not big showings here from Oni, which is unfortunate to see. Seen him show up many times, and I mean, it might not be this one, but Aggro is still winning, so you know, doesn't matter, I guess. Doesn't need to show up just yet. C4, very commonplace here. Very commonplace. Always see it there. It's always there. C4 is blown. It takes Rob down to 20 HP, but it's not enough to secure a kill. How? Oh, they're so unlucky with those explosions. Not a single death, but look at the HP on the coach and the analyst on Rob and Hacker. So low on HP. That is really unfortunate. What a way to handicap your subs.
Yep. It pretty much took a knife and, you know, slit the Achilles heel of both of those players. Hacker, somebody could sneeze on him from any direction. A quick gust of wind might topple him over, and the same could be said about Rob, but he's slightly more formidable of an opponent. However, the hatch has not been opened. Twizzler's gonna have to be a madman and try to maverick the kitchen hatch, which is a death wish for most teams, and that's why Smokebreaker going for the full audible. The shot call from their IGL is saying, we need to push in dirt, but that was also ill-advised. The Silent takes the head right off a Tragical, and some toxic vape canisters are going to continue to slow down this push. Silent definitely a lot more comfortable.
Wow.
But Hacker still picks him off because he swung when he didn't need to, man. So unfortunate, as the man count has been evened up. But the health pool definitively is not. Splash, the only one on the side of the aggro defense taking any damage. As now Asian's going to tag on for 2, his flank up this... Never mind. His retake of dirt, once again netting 2 kills. As that seems to just be Aggro's favorite thing to do, is retake dirt and hold a crossfire on Moto that Twizzler will walk right into. And Faded, trying to peek away, is walking into more and more bullets. Only 5 HP in a dream. As the single thread of fate for Team Smokebreak is slowly being cut by Aggro. Faded, any damage will be his undoing. Oni, Splash, and Silent still left alive, and it's a quick refrag from Asian, the red dot man himself. Finishing it all off, Aggro take the map, and they continue their journey in SCS.
A polarizing team is Aggro, but an even more polarizing team is Smokebreak, and they get sent packing home. Very, very, I guess, likely result. Definitely the one we expected, but not as close as we expected. Very close game there from Smokebreak, trying to battle back from a deficit that was surely working against them in such a way that we didn't expect any sort of life from them. We thought that we were going to map 3. We thought that Smokebreak were going to take us to the limit. But Aggro gained round on top of round on top of round on top of round, and these simple mistakes being made by Smokebreak. You could see them from a mile away as a spectator. Can't see him as a player sometimes. That's okay. But unfortunately, it's just one. I mean, I said it. It costs 2 mistakes. That's all it takes. And that's all it did take. Took that much, and Smokebreak, they're out.
And alrighty. That's pretty much all we have here today. Unfortunately, no stats. Unfortunately, no interview. We're just going to wrap it up. Thank you so much, everybody in chat, always giving us support and love here over at SCS. And once again, another congratulations from Aggro as they continue their run, their Cinderella story through the lower bracket. As we'll actually show the bracket, so you don't have to imagine it anymore. We'll supplement our words with a wonderful piece of art that Herme has created whenever he wants to transition to it. There we go. Smokebreak losing to Aggro, and Aerial Arise being able to fell Biblioteca means that that's the next game up on the docket, and they'll be playing against, in the lower bracket finals, the winner of that will play against the loser of Honor and Mystic, both 2 really great teams in the upper bracket finals. And hopefully that's going to be a barn burner. Both teams match up well against each other, and I'm really excited for that one. But that's, I mean, to quote my favorite caster, Carter Lynx Hennefeld, that's it. We're done. Now that's where we cut the feed and we leave you guys with a good night.
I bought this guy a calzone just to be here.
You did.
So that's it. Goodbye.